Welcome back to Brothers Talking Sports. I'm your host, Oscar. As you can see, we're in a different setup today. As of normally we have Shay and Max to the left of me on the couch. That is not the case today. I would like to welcome our new third member of the podcast. Ezra, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for officially having me on. I want to be known as the fourth member, kind of just a back up to Max and Shay for the extenuating circumstances for today, but I made it work and we're out here.
Yeah, people are sick. Stuff happens, so Ezra was able to join us today. Anytime we get Ezra on, it's always a pleasure to have him on. We got NFL games to break down from this week, last week. Let's kick it off with the very first game of the NFL playoffs this year, which was Browns-Texans. Browns won by 31 points. Texans win by 31 points, I'm sorry. There's not much really to chime on there. Ezra, you got anything on that Texans game?
I was definitely surprised to see the whole hyped up January Joe. He's the Ravens' worst nightmare, blah, yada, yada. And then Houston's defense made him look like a fool. I mean, you throw two pick sixes back-to-back drives. You give them as many points as your offense scores. You can't do that. Especially in a playoff game, C.J. Stroud looked incredible. Huge future in Houston.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say than Browns didn't offense or defense play particularly well, and Houston stepped up and played absolutely amazing, so there's not much else to say there. Chiefs keep on rolling. They win like I think a lot of people thought they would. But, the question is, Tua's fifth year, I think, is coming up this year. What do they do with Tua? What do you think they should do, Ezra, with Tua?
It's tough. I have a close family friend who's a huge Dolphins fan. Got a tattoo, season tickets. I think the fan base really does like him. It's just tough to move on from a guy that you went from 0 to 100 with, and now you're kind of plateauing as a playoff team that can't really win many big games, especially this year with their record against teams that are over 500. I don't think they won a single game at all. Maybe one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Keep going.
So it's gonna be a tough call either way. I would say keep him.
Listen, I think you keep him too. Listen, I think he's maybe a little bit worse than Dak Prescott. Listen, Dak is we'll get to Dak in a minute here, but we're going to talk about Tua probably throughout the all off season. What the Dolphins will do. If they keep Tua, do they re-sign him? Do they give him that extension going forward? That's one thing we'll definitely have to be keeping an eye on. I think that Tua is a great quarterback. We've seen it this year, but he can't play. I think he's a great quarterback, but he can't play in those conditions. He's got to, it would have been better if he was the 2 seed, doing all that stuff, getting the 2 seed. And
having a home game would have been huge for Miami.
Yeah, exactly. A home game against the Steelers or against the Bills, again, which would have been, a great chance to beat the Bills. So I think Tua should be re-signed, but also at the same time, if you get to the third straight playoff game and you've had the same result, whether it's a first or second round exit, you should definitely be looking in other options in Miami.
And maybe not give him a long contract. So you give him, whether it be incentives or a short, small deal to the point where, look, we need to win multiple playoffs games for you to stay with us. Like, do you want to be a Dolphin for the rest of your career or not? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that the Dolphins have a big decision coming up with Tua. Packers and Jordan Love. I don't think Jordan Love got enough credit in this game of what he did. This offense literally went down and scored almost every single freaking drive, and the defense did their job just well enough to get the victory. I think the second half of the game, obviously they're playing prevent and stuff like that, but at the same time, I don't think this Green Bay defense is very good. I think Joe Barry is the worst, if not like the worst defensive coordinators in the league. We've said this when we've talked with Shay, so many times how I can't believe Joe Barry still has a goddamn job. But again, that's besides me. Jordan Love looks like an NFL superstar. I mean, he looks like he's been doing this for 10 years now when he walked into the playoffs, putting up 48 on the Cowboys. As what's your thoughts on Jordan Love?
I think every Packers fan, and I hope Shay agrees with me, is very, very happy to see what Jordan Love has turned into. He's been hot the last couple of weeks. He kept it rolling. Goes into Dallas. Dallas was undefeated at home this year. The Packers won, I think, their 7th straight game in Jerry World. It's a really tough day or tough weekend last weekend to be a Cowboys fan, but are you really surprised? I mean, they haven't won a playoff game in a very long time.
Yeah,
They haven't successfully made a playoff run.
Yeah, you're right, dude. This is the Cowboys of every single year. They come in there, high hopes, great record in the regular season, and win a playoff game, and they're out. Like, that's the most they'll do. And this was another one of those years where the Cowboys showed up at home against Green Bay. You got the 2 seed. This is the best case scenario, unless you got the 1 seed.
And they look really good coming in.
And they look good, man. I mean, you beat the Lions. You barely beat the Lions, but you beat the Lions. You beat some of these teams. You beat Miami. You beaten the Eagles this year. So, like, you've beaten teams. It's not like you haven't beaten anybody. You've beaten some teams. And you walk into this game and you get manhandled. Absolutely. And I want to put this one on the Packers defense. I mean, not the Packers, the Cowboys defense. The Cowboys defense.
They played atrocious.
I mean, I've never seen anything like it, dude. This defense all year, top 10 defense. You look at
top
almost
5, top 3 even.
You know, I would say closer to top 10. But again, if you want to make the argument for top 5, you probably could, because that's how high they're up there in every single stat, every single category. You look at the roster up and down. I mean, everything for the Cowboys was set to just have an amazing year, and they come up short, and this is just something for the Cowboys that it's a time and time again. You have to sit here, and you can't look at anybody else but Jerry Jones, and he's the problem. The Cowboys will never win anything until he leaves, and I will stand by that very much so. And again, that's not a Mike McCarthy problem, or we'll get into Mike McCarthy in a little bit in the Cowboys, but it's not his problem. It's Jerry Jones. As Lions, Rams. Lions win 24-3. What are your thoughts on the Lions victory?
It's probably a tough night for Stafford, knowing how much work and dedication he put into Detroit just for Goff to come in and finally get that playoff win that Detroit's needed for the last 30-something years. Really funny how the Rams, after all these years, are upset that there was no PI called on Puka at that last drive, I think it was. But the Saints fans get their pass interference call back, so it's probably a good day for New Orleans fans. With I think it was a couple years ago, the really, really early hit, there was no call down in New Orleans, sent the Rams to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, listen.
But really good game back and forth. Both teams played very well. It really came down to a one-drive game, and that's how it ended.
Again, this was the only good wild card football weekend game. All the other ones were just kind of meh, whether they were blowouts or they were, teams just kind of hanging around in the game and then getting washed out at the end, which was a couple of them. But, this was one of those games that literally you could sit down and watch 10 times over again. That's how good this game was. This is a great game between these two teams. This game came down to Rams offensive inefficiency to score in the red zone, right? The Rams got down there 3 times, kicked 3 field goals. If you sit down and watch this game and you said, yeah, the Rams are going to get in the red zone about 7 times, and they're only going to score 23 points, and you'd be like, well, how the hell does that happen? They just proved it to you. I think they probably got at least 6 times. I'll tell you, they got in the red zone at least 6 times. They only scored 23 points. And it's sad because your defense played probably just as well as enough that you needed. If you told me, you're going to stop the Lions about 24 points, Stafford and Puka Nacua, they're going to have one of the best games of their careers, especially for Puka Nacua, a young career. He's going to have one of his best games so far, and you're going to get into the red zone 6 times. You would think you've won by 20 points. You lost this game by 1. So, again, you have to look at yourself internally. As a Rams coaching staff, play
Mhm.
calling and all the little things that get you this win, because that essentially is the little stuff that get you this win, because the second half, that defense came out stifling. I think they let up one score to the Lions.
They only It was 3 points. The Lions scored 3 points in that entire second half.
Yeah, literally 3 points. They scored one score. So the Lions, again, you're going to have a tough matchup. We're going to talk about that in a second. But the Rams, if you're talking about this year, you have nothing to be upset about. You shouldn't even have been here.
Not at all.
And you almost beat the Lions. So congrats to the Rams. Like I said, the Lions are in some trouble, and I've said that since day one. Bills at Steelers. Bills win. I'm not going to take too much of our time about that. Don't care too much. A lot of people expected that. Buccaneers at Eagles. Eagles at Bucks. Eagles get demolished by the Bucks. Bucks walked all over them, essentially. Not going to talk about the Bucks for right now. We're going to talk about the Eagles. Jason Kelce. Let's take it away with Jason Kelce.
It was a sad night to see him walk off that field, and by his facial expressions, holding back tears, walking off, you could tell it was it. He knew. It sucks to see Jason Kelce lose his last game as an NFL starter, but he was drafted in 2011 with the 191st pick. And since then, he has made 6 first-team All-Pros, 7 Pro Bowls, 1 a Super Bowl, and out of his career games, he has started 193 out of 193. And on top of just on the field, if you know anything about Jason Kelce, he's raised millions on millions on millions for the Philly area, whether it be fundraisers, his own foundation, whatever it is. Great dude. Sad to see him go. And I can't wait to see what he does in retirement for the NFL, whether it just be something as simple as a reporter, an analyst, whatever it may be. It just sucks that he's never going to be on the field again in uniform.
Yeah, listen, I'm not too sad about this one. I'll be honest with you, Ezra. Love Jason Kelce. Great dude.
Oh, I know.
Never want to see that man again, because how good he was against the Giants. Dude, again, like I've said, Dexter Lawrence is one of the most underrated football players in the NFL. And every single time Dexter Lawrence steps on that field, he demolishes everybody he plays. But if he goes up against Jason Kelce, it's over. He literally loses. And I'm like, yo, I've never seen this man lose to anybody except for Jason Kelce. That's how good Jason Kelce is. He's absolutely insane. Great football player, great guy. One of the faces essentially of the NFL is a center. And again, he's one of the best players in the league as a center. And that's crazy to say. I think he was 40th ranked in the NFL today as a center. So that's crazy. Not an impactful player at all on when it comes into the term of scheme and everything like that. But what Philly has done is they've actually utilized him with the tush push. They had the best offensive line for the past 2 years, this year and last year. So just incredible to see what Jason Kelce's career has came out to, especially at the end of it. Probably his best was at the end, where a lot of people is not. So it's great to see that Jason Kelce had the best of his career when he did. As you got anything else you want to talk about?
Buffalo takes care of that. Sorry. All right. Buffalo took care of business, and they get the matchup they want in Buffalo. Kansas City comes to town, which should be a very good game, but we'll get to that. And I also saw this on Instagram, but I wanted to hear your opinion. Baker Mayfield has turned into what we all wanted Johnny Manziel to be. True or false?
That's tough, because Johnny Manziel and Baker Mayfield are nothing alike. Let's put that out there. These two players couldn't be exactly opposite. Baker Mayfield's a hard worker, a good football player, cares about his teammates, X, Y, and Z, just a good dude. Johnny Manziel, absolute dickhead. Didn't care about his teammates, didn't watch any film, did not care if they won or not. So again, I get what you're saying, because Baker was the cocky guy coming out of college, and so was Johnny Manziel. And Johnny Manziel was really hot, won the Heisman and everything like that. But yeah, I would say coming out of college, yeah, probably. He's probably, yeah, I'm gonna say true is. All right.
That's all I got from the wild card weekend.
Sounds good. Let's get into just some news around the sports world. Mike McCarthy will be back next year. My thoughts on it is, yeah, I have no problem with Mike McCarthy coming back. I know a lot of people don't like that. Why didn't you go to get Bill Belichick? Why didn't you go to get this guy? Why didn't you go to get this guy? Can we stop and look at the problem for a second, guys? You haven't won since 92, a Super Bowl, right? You've gone through cycle of coaches. But at this point, the only problem is Jerry Jones. He's the guy that's been there every single year, and every single year you don't win. The one time you did win, when he was there, you know who's there? Jimmy Johnson. You know who was running the things? Jimmy Johnson. So you have to take a look inside, Cowboys, and look at the problem. Where's the problem? Oh, maybe it's your goddamn freaking owner that wants to take control of everything, and it's Jerry's world. Maybe you should let your coach and executives handle the football decisions instead of you handling your football decisions, because that's the problem with this football team. That's your turn to speak, Ez.
Yeah, no, you kind of said everything I had to say. I mean, it's a tough call because everybody wants to point fingers at the coach and the coach and the coach and the coach and, oh, Bill Belichick this, Bill Belichick that. And yeah, maybe. Do I think if Bill Belichick came to Dallas, he'd win a Super Bowl? No. Could he? Yeah. I don't know. It's a tough decision, but it's definitely outside and way higher than just that head coach.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, Dak, I think is a right at the tier of top 10 quarterbacks. So like he's right on the edge. So like he's not a guy that, listen, you're going out there and being like, damn, we have the quarterback mismatch most of the time. I'm be honest with you, you don't. When you play the Giants, you don't. When you play the Commanders, you don't. That's two teams in your division you already have the advantage on. Jalen Hurts this year, you had the advantage on him, right? You had the advantage in Miami when you played them. You have the advantage most of the time. You had the advantage when you play Jordan Love for right now. Maybe in a couple next year, you probably won't because look at the way that kid's playing. But most of the games you go into, you have that quarterback matchup. So, again, for the Cowboys, this is not a roster thing. This is not a coaching thing. This is a Jerry Jones problem that they need to fix. But it won't get fixed because he's the owner. Okay, we move on now. Tight end out of Miami, Mac McCormick will come back for a ninth season in college football. Let's get a perspective on college players playing more than 4 years of this 4 or 5 years at this point.
I mean, look, I understand it. I'm not going to call myself a college athlete. I just play a club sport, but I get it. You want to try and keep pushing and keep going. I understand it, but at a certain point, you got to hang him up. You have to. Now, I don't even know if he's good enough or if he's any good to get drafted or go pro. Maybe this year's his year, but as an NFL team, why are you going to take a guy who's played 9 years in college football? How even old is this kid? 24, 25?
Yeah, I mean, listen, my perspective on this is this. Listen, of course the kids are going to want to play as long as they want. I mean, that's how every single kid is. I mean, hell, I don't want to stop playing college football. I mean, I don't want to stop playing high school football. I don't think anybody else really does either. It's one of the best feelings running out there with all your guys, all your teammates, all your brothers. But at the same time, college football has to take a look. This stuff is going to stop soon with COVID and everybody getting another year. But we also, sometimes people get transfer years, and you transfer, you can't play in X, Y, and Z. So,
and you redshirted, and you have a COVID year, and you have an injury or two.
Exactly. So this stuff is going to stop, calm down in a couple of years, but at the same time, it's getting to the point where 9 seasons in college football, dude. Some guys had 3 years. You've almost had tripled in some of the guys in the NFL. So, that's crazy to think that he's had a career longer than some of the guys in the NFL. It's absolutely insane. Um,
And on this note, I don't know if the NCAA has decided yet, but isn't Tua's younger brother, Tua trying to do something similar with a 60 year of eligibility?
yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to play Clemson now.
I don't know. I know he was at Maryland for a while. He broke almost every record there and holds many records. He had a COVID year. He
I'm gonna look
redshirted,
it
but he
up real
came in
quick.
for his brother who was hurt. And so there was some controversy there because you can only appear in a certain amount of games based on that rule or a snap, whatever it may be. I don't know specifically. And so I think he tried to appeal it, and it looks like he's going to get another year. But for him, I understand being at the level he's at and how well he's performed at the college level. But declare for the draft already, bro. Come on. Like, you're older, I think. I could be wrong. I'm going to check now. CJ Stroud, 22 years old, born in 2001, October 3rd. Let's look up Tualia.
Yeah, Tualia is not going to go to any bowl game. He's also not going to also at the same time.
Tualia is a year and a half. Yeah, year and a half older than CJ Stroud.
It's crazy.
Just to put that into perspective.
And look at some of the guys coming out this year. A lot of them 24, 22-year-olds that are younger than like Lamar Jackson is literally like
The same age as Bo Nix, I think.
Yeah, with some of these guys coming
or Michael Penix.
So like it's just crazy to think that some of these guys in the NFL are just some of the college guys are so much older, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. So, like, especially when you go look at the draft this year and some teams are looking and go, hey, this guy's 24 years old. Should we really take him with our third overall pick, man? Listen, he's maybe got another good 10 to 11 years instead of, maybe he's got, 12 to 15 to 16 years. So, you also have to take a look at that when you're drafting, and it's going to become an issue, too, when you're drafting quarterbacks. So we're going to get into all that later down the road. We're going to do a lot on the NFL draft this year, a bunch load of content when it comes to the NFL draft. Last thing is, you take this one away, Josh Hader to the Astros.
As a Yankee fan, I'm very, very upset and angry, but Josh Hader is an elite reliever, closer, lefty, throws hard, does not miss the strike zone, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in Houston. I hate the Astros. I hate to say it, but they're going to be really good. It's a tough pill to swallow. The Yankees will probably lose to them again in the playoffs. It sucks. And he got a really good 5-year deal.
Yeah, Josh.
And it sucks to say, but part of me wants to say I hope he gets hurt. I don't think bro gets hurt. If you look into it, and I'll double check now, Josh Hader's been around and not hurt a lot. I've known. I'm gonna double check.
I mean, Josh Hader's a great baseball player, great closer, great reliever for the Padres, and he's done everything. I mean, not the Padres. Yeah, correct, the Padres. Yeah, the Padres, and he's done everything he's needed to.
He went to Milwaukee for a while.
I was gonna say he was in Milwaukee too, so that's why I was trying to think. I was like, I knew he was in Milwaukee too, but again, he's been for the Padres. He's been there for a while. He's been a great closer. So at the same time, it sucks for the Padres, but they're kind of shifting closer towards a rebuild, trading Kwan, getting rid of Hader. So they're kind of collecting their things and putting different pieces in different places now, compared to the Astros, where they're a win now team, hoping to make another push. And this is a good replacement. It's just their best. I want to say this is their best closer since Chapman, when they had Chapman a while ago. So, right, the Astros had Chapman. Am I stupid here?
I know Chicago did. I know the Yankees did. I'm not 100% sure. I'll check.
I actually don't think they did. I think I'm stupid on this one. Hold on. I think I'm wrong here, Ezra. I think I'm really off here. I'm sorry,
You
Dallas.
might be.
Yeah,
Hundred.
I'm really off here. Um, yeah, I don't know why I just said that. That was really bad on like closers. He's never been the closer for them.
Yeah, no.
No, I don't know what I'm saying.
He went from Cincinnati to New York to Chicago, back to New York, and then has left New York, and I think is in Kansas City.
Yeah, you're right. He is in Kansas City. I don't know why I thought he was there. Um, yeah, but the Astros again, they find their closer. Um, they've had a bunch of different guys do it. It's been Ryan Presley for the past couple of years, so that was really dumb of me. I feel actually like really stupid right now for saying that. But again, I say some stupid shit on here. Let's get into the
Yeah.
let's get into the football games though. This is where
Whoa. Backtrack. Timeout. Come baseball season, I expect your shit to be in line. You better be ready to roll.
yo, listen, I don't dude, I'm trying to I don't get into man, baseball is not my sport, dude.
It's not hard, boss. Come on.
I know, but it's so maybe when it comes summertime I'll get more into it, but dude, I can't watch I can only watch playoff baseball. That's literally it.
What are you gonna watch? The NBA playoffs? What to do?
I like the NBA. I like watching the NBA, especially when I have money on games. It's fun. It's entertaining.
All right, fine.
All right, well, let's get into it. Houston at the Ravens this week. Houston has a tall task going up against this defense that leads the league in sacks, has been terrific all around this year. The best all-around team by far. You can't even put anything on that. The Ravens have done everything they've needed to. Let me get your thoughts on how Houston can win this game.
Houston needs to do what they did to Cleveland's defense in Baltimore to the Ravens somehow, some way. It's going to be very difficult. The Ravens, as you said, a ton of sacks. Their secondary is good. Their linebackers are good. They're a very, very, very good team. Very good team.
Yeah, let's not overthink.
But can CJ Stroud and the Cinderella story keep going as a rookie quarterback, as a young team, as a defense that got overlooked all year? They need Lamar to turn the ball over multiple times at least. And they need to expose the Ravens defense somehow. I really don't know. I mean, should Baltimore kill the Texans? Probably, but it's going to be a tough one for Houston for sure.
Here's my thing. I think the Ravens are going to come out. Here's what could happen. Ravens come out flat. A couple guys haven't played in about 3 or 4 weeks of football. They come out and they look weak. They don't get off this hot start that the Texans have been on. Past 2 games they've essentially beat the Colts for a playoff game. They beat the Browns last week for a playoff game. So you're looking at this hot Houston team rolling into Baltimore saying, what the fuck we got to lose? Let's go out on a ball, right? And this is what CJ Stroud has done literally all year. What do we have to lose? Let's go ball, right? And this is a young kid that's done exactly that. And I don't think Baltimore is going to sit here and, be ready for exactly what Houston's going to bring, because Houston's going to give it their all. This is going to be a very good football game. I think Houston's one of those teams, man, where they're going to show up and show out. Do I think they win? No, I think Baltimore squeaks this one out. I think Baltimore is a very good football team. We talk about everything on their defense, but their offense is just as good. And I think Lamar is going to finally put this one together to get to the AFC Championship game for its first time. But again, I'm not going to be surprised if CJ Stroud walks in there and balls out and wins this game. I'm really not. And I know a lot of people will probably say, well, listen, he's got a chance, but I don't think it's a good chance. No, I think he's got a good chance to win this game. Do I think he does it? No. But I'm going to take the Ravens here on this one, as I think you're going Ravens as well.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Baltimore. I do think it'll be a higher scoring game than most think. And like you said, it should be very close. I
Yeah,
mean, you have Houston that has absolutely nothing to lose, and Baltimore has quite literally everything to lose.
exactly. Especially since the fact that the Texans have came into this season no expectations. That it really drives the point of, hey, what do we got to lose? Let's go out here and ball. And this offense is one of the elite in the league. So they don't protect this kid at all. They make sure, hey, listen, go out and throw it 50 times. We trust you, my dude. So they do a lot, and you know, they're going to keep on rolling with this kid and see exactly what he could bring them to. Packers at Niners. I've just talked there a lot, Ez. Let's get your thoughts on this one first.
Um, I I don't really see this to be the Packers game to win. It's tough. You have a very good Niners team. You have a very good Niners team at home, especially. Now, they, again, like the Ravens haven't played in a little bit. They're the 1 seed. Oh, they're hot shit. But the Packers came off a very big win, and they need to carry everything and then some into Santa Clara and put it to the Niners if they want to stand any chance at beating this good of a football team. The Niners looked like a juggernaut at the beginning of the season, slowly started to level off a little bit. They finished 12-5, very good season. Can Brock Purdy, and last year he did, but can he continue to play well in the big games, in the playoff game, at home? You have a Saturday night game, even though it's an afternoon game in California, but the Packers are going to come in hot, and the Packers defense has to show up. They have to shut down McCaffrey. They have to shut down IU. You have George Kittle. You have a loaded team offense for the Niners of weapons, and you need the Packers multiple turnovers, big stops on third down. If there comes fourth down, you need to stop fourth downs. You're going to have to win on special teams somehow, some way. A blocked punt, a blocked kick, a kickoff return, something big is going to need to come for Green Bay to squeak this one out, which I don't see it happening personally, but there's a chance. I'll leave it at that.
Listen, I feel bad for Shea. They're going to lose this because he's not here to pick against them. I feel really bad. But at the same time, this Packers team, I'm going to say essentially some of the same things that I said with the Texans because they're in very similar situations. Young quarterbacks, essentially first year. I know Jordan Love. It's really his first year, right? First year as a starter in Green Bay. So essentially, it's his first year. CJ Stroud's first year. Not a lot of expectations coming to this year. Maybe an okay team, but will most likely miss the playoffs, right? That was their expectation. Oh, they won't win this playoff game. Oh, no, they're not going to beat the Cowboys. Oh, they're not going to beat the Browns. Oh, they beat them both. And they did it pretty freaking handily, too. They did not let up, right? So I think for Green Bay here, your key is to get turnovers on Brock Purdy because when he turns the ball over, again,
They don't play well.
Again, turnovers win and lose games. That's the biggest stat to win and losing games, right? If Brock Purdy turns the ball over once or twice, I think this is the Packers game. I think they win. But at the same time, this is a Niners team that, again, hasn't played in a couple weeks. So I'm saying the same exact things I said at the Texans game. Niners team that hasn't played in a couple weeks. But again, I think Brock Purdy does a good job not turning the ball over. He's done that almost all season long, right? So there's a lot of good things if you're the Niners here to look at. You get the 1 versus 7 matchup in the playoffs. I mean, come on. Right, so do you want a better chance to get to the NFC Championship game? You're probably not going to get one, right? 1 versus 7. I'm going to take the Niners here. I think Ezra is too. But the Packers definitely have a shot if the Niners start to unravel here in this game.
Yeah, and the Niners collapsed on themselves against Baltimore. You saw that game, I hope, and that Niners team did not look anything good. I mean, you had a Baltimore who just handed it to them and kept putting it on them. And if you're Green Bay, you need to come out and do the exact same thing.
Correct. Buccaneers at Lions this week. As I'll get your thoughts first.
I don't really care what the spread or the line has to say, I'm excited for this one. I think although Tampa really was never anything of a special team coming into the playoffs, they put one on Philly. They showed that they're not that bad. I mean, yeah, 9-8, okay, whatever they play in the NFC South, what they did. I think it's going to be a good game. I really do. You have Detroit coming off the highest of the high in the last 30 some odd years. You won a playoff game. Yippee. Like, will they crash? Will they hit that point of, what's it called, the Super Bowl hangover? You know what I mean? For the Lions, that was their Super Bowl. They won their game against their old quarterback. They beat Stafford, and now Tampa's coming in sneakily. Not really anything great of a team, but I'm pretty sure Baker Mayfield's going to change everyone's opinions. And I do really want to take Tampa, but I don't think the Lions could go out and lose a game in Detroit after winning their first playoff game in that long of time. I don't want to say overtime. That's too bold. Give me a very close game with the Lions squeaking one out, maybe game-winning field goal.
You know, I've given out two picks this year that I said I put $1,000 on. This is coming very close to another one. I absolutely 110% love the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this matchup. Baker Mayfield has won just as many playoff games, almost close to as Dak has. Let's put that out there for first, right? That's one. Baker Mayfield has playoff experience. This Buccaneers whole team has playoff experience. And Baker and this offense are doing something that we have never seen, from Baker Mayfield and what he's been able to do. Just put up points left, right, and center. Their defense is doing an amazing job. I understand this is a playoff game with Baker Mayfield versus Jared Goff, but I'm going to be sorry and completely honest with you. The Lions last week, they look flat when they played the Rams. You just competed with a Rams team that was 9-8 and wasn't supposed to be here before the season at all, and yet you won by 1 point because the Rams offense was so bad in the red zone. They literally just had to score one time in the red zone. You would have lost that game. You scored 3 points in the second half. How are you going to come back to a Bucs team that just put up 32 points on the Eagles, on almost a fully healthy Eagles defense, without A.J. Brown on offense, of course, but at the same time, this is a Bucs team that I think just rolls in here. And again, this is another team that has nothing to freaking lose. What do you have to lose? I mean, Baker, sure, you might have a contract you're playing for, so that even sends it even more. I'm taking the Bucs. I love the Bucs this week. I think they win. I think they proved the doubters wrong. They're the ones gonna go play the Niners next week. I love the Buccaneers this week against the Lions. Ezra, we get into the most anticipated matchup of the year so far. Chiefs at Bills. Give me your take.
Oh, this is a really tough one. We've seen this matchup multiple times over and over and over again. But it's Patrick Mahomes' first playoff game, not at Arrowhead. That's not a Super Bowl game.
Crazy.
And it's a wild stat that's actually true somehow. I really want to take Josh Allen and say that he's going to finally get his. But Kansas City's a force in the playoffs. They always have been. I just don't think they're going to be able to get it done, especially knowing how poorly the receivers have played in Kansas City. Now, Rashee Rice last week played very well. Don't get me wrong. Ton of credit to him. Travis Kelce's always played well in the playoffs. Buffalo's defense is going to have to step it up. I'm taking Buffalo.
Yeah. You taking Buffalo?
Yeah, I'm taking Buffalo.
Okay. I mean, listen, I don't hate that pick at all. But I think this is the point where the Chiefs' defense, it's a top 5 defense, I think a top 3 defense, one of the top 3, comes into this game and shuts them down. I really do. Listen, the Bills have been all gas since that Philly game. They have been hitting the pedal to the metal, and they are one of the best teams in the NFL. Hottest team in the NFL. Look at their last 8 games. They're probably 7-1, 7-2, right? So the Bills are hot. But let me tell you something. This Chiefs team is finding a way to win ugly, right? And you just need to win in the NFL. It doesn't need to be pretty. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be good enough to beat the other team, correct? And this Chiefs team is doing exactly that. Whether they lean on Isaiah Pacheco in that defense or whether they throw it throughout the yard and hit Travis Kelce and Rashid Rice throughout that game. So I'm just going to sit here and say this Chiefs team, I'm going to take the better coach. I'm going to take the better quarterback. I'm going to take the better defense that usually wins you football games. I'm going with the Chiefs.
Now, did you see the weather forecast and what the Bills have posted and stated about the upcoming weather and how they want fans to bring their own shovels?
I have seen that. I
Again.
think that's pretty interesting. For the most part, I think that is also a stupid idea for the fans to bring their own shovels to the game. Straight up, I think that's stupid.
Kind of stupid.
Again, just hire more people to clean out your stadium like you have been, which you're doing a great job with. So, again, I think that's a great thing. But at the same time, Mahomes has played in freaking snow before. Mahomes just played in -1, -2 degree weather. So I'm not too concerned when it comes to Mahomes worrying about weather and worrying about... No, I'm not too concerned about either team. Crowd noise, sure. But outside of that, I'm not too concerned about anything that the Chiefs really have to worry about.
All right.
That's it for the episode today. Do you have any last thoughts, comments, concerns?
No, I got nothing. Thank you again for having me on, and I'll hope to be here next week if I'm able to.
I appreciate it, Ez. I appreciate you coming on today, man. Really do. And we will see you guys next time.